Well, hello, class. This particular chapter, chapter 4, is extremely important because it's going to give us the impetus and the rationale of writing a good, sound business plan. In order to write a good, sound business plan, you really have to have a good strategic plan that is behind it. So pay special attention to this chapter and look at the hyperlinks that I have put up for you to view, especially the one with Erica Olson, um, putting together a strategy. It's just amazingly important, and for every leader, and should have in their toolbox a significant strategy in which to accomplish their goals and their objectives. So, having said that, some of the things that we're trying to do in this chapter is understand how to build a competitive advantage. And that means we're going to integrate strategic management with having a competitive edge. That's our purpose. We're going to be looking at our core competencies. What is it that we do best? And then we're going to go through the various steps of the strategic management process. In order to write a business plan, you need to go through each one of these steps to do it correctly. So, this is the thing that you want to do. When you're writing a business plan, you want to develop a vision. In other words, everything starts with a vision. Before you get into mission statements and strategic goals and all that stuff. You need a vision. What is it that I'm trying to do? Like, what would I like to do? Before you even think of how you want to get there, figure out what it is, what you want to do. What is your vision? And how do you hope to get that vision into a reality so that you can drive things? When Steve Jobs first thought about Apple, he was like sitting in a subway with a laptop. I mean, you'd think he thought about, hey, sometime after I pass away, I'm going to create such a legacy that we're going to build this business to $339 plus billion dollars. Heck no. One step at a time. So, from a vision, you create a mission statement. What are we about? How does that vision turn into a reality? What are we trying to accomplish? And a mission statement should be a lot more than just words. The next step is to assess the company's strengths and weaknesses. Erica Olson talked about that in her video. That's a SWOT analysis. Internally, what are our strengths and weaknesses to be able to meet our external demands, which are opportunities, and we get those opportunities by looking at our threats and turning them into strengths. And that goes to the next step, step 3, scan for opportunities and threats. So the bottom line is we got to identify what's good in the ship. What are our success factors? Then we go on to step number 5, which is, hey, look at our external environment. Look at our threats. How do we analyze our competitors? Do we do what they don't, or do we do what they do? The next step is, how do we create goals and objectives? In other words, how do we put the strategy together in order to meet those goals? Okay? So there's got to be a step-by-step process to accomplish achieving those goals. Then you need to come up with at least 3 types of strategic options. What type of formulas are you going to use to meet each one of those strategies? And that will be step number 7 in the strategic management process. Well, it isn't enough to just put it on paper. You have to be able to put it into an action plan. That takes a little bit of time and a little bit of additional planning because every organization, even though they might do the same thing, they have a unique culture. So each one of those cultures has to be addressed in order to put together a sound action plan. And then we have to put controls into effect. How do we monitor? How do we know what our limitations are? How do we monitor all of the formula strategies so that we know that every individual in the organization is able to follow and implement the strategy into action? And then finally, we'll talk about a balanced scorecard. What is that? That means that employees feed off of the organization, organizations feed off of employees, and you need competent leaders to do that. They have to have a transparency where they not only understand their competitors, but they understand their strengths and their weaknesses. So that's kind of, this is where, in your paper, when writing a business plan, which is going to be 20% of your grade, you should start writing down some ideas now on pick a company of your choosing. Figure what it is that they do that makes them successful strategically, and then develop a business plan of your own. Start writing down using all the factors I've just outlined of what you would do if you were going to entrepreneur your own business. So that's what this section is about. It's a very important chapter because strategy has to do with understanding your mission, putting your vision into a reality, and then going forward from there. Okay.